Yeah, I think number one is really the mistakes that happen when, when people are planning to retire, whether you're 50, 55, 60 years old, 65, but also getting to that retirement, what we call it phase, right? With your qualified funds or your 401ks, TSBs, IRAs, retirement plans, right? And these mistakes happen more than often. And this is, I think, the most important thing on my end that I see to create now a retirement portfolio that is suited towards you, right? I think that nowadays people are told, the same thing or or other ideas that don't necessarily qualify the situation that every client is in, right? And we talk about this every seminar and every client that we have. Every single person's going to be different, right? You don't have one size shoe that fits all. So how you're taking out distributions on those, 401ks or IRAs or TSBs, any retirement account that you have is super, super, super important. That could literally make or break, right, your retirement. And it's funny that we bring this up because last night I literally was just at a seminar over in Orange Beach, Alabama, and we talked about, with 2 or 3 different couples, how that affects them. Okay. And they even brought it to our attention. Hey, look, we've got distributions coming out. We need, of course, supplementing income. We're taking out money from our retirement plans. And that in general, right? When you take it out, how you take it out, how much you take out, those all can really affect the back end scenario. And I think and there's a lot of things that are important when it comes to creating your specific portfolio towards you. But if there's one thing that I have to say that's, that is a must know key, it's really not making the mistakes, right, with your retirement portfolio. And Steve, I know, you kind of have the same idea on that, right? We talk about it a lot and you go through it a lot with clients. What do you think?
Yeah. And I think, David, when you're looking at, I was at that seminar last night as well, and I had different couples asking me similar questions. And I think everything starts when you're talking about the retirement, you're talking about making a plan, whether you're close to retirement, in retirement. We had half the room that was retired and half the room wasn't retired, and they're all looking to make that plan to live a simplified retirement. And I think one of the things that you bring up a lot and we talk about with these clients is starting off with the right income source. And you mentioned it earlier. If you're thinking about income, those are the assets. We talked last, show, we talked about qualified money. And I want to bring that back up. You're talking about your TSP investments, your 401ks, your 403B, for school teachers, your 457 for retired police and the firefighters. And, maybe it's a TSA, maybe it's a traditional IRA. Those are the funds when you're setting up your map and you're planning out your retirement that you need to look to first, because that's what's going to help set up you a simplified, easy retirement where you can have guaranteed income and you're not making mistakes of where you put those funds.
Right. And taking money out of there again, taking distributions from IRAs, TSBs, 401ks, any retirement plan that you have, right? Whatever school system that you're in, things like that. That's where things can get very confusing and tricky, right? And again, we're here for that. That's the one mistake that I see the most is people making the mistake of of how to take it out or when to take out the distributions or, not having it guaranteed. There's just a lot of different things that go into, taking distributions from those retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs. And that's what I think that, if you have questions or if you've been thinking about taking money out or distributions from those to supplement income or to use, for trips or to use when you want to, you need to give us a call. Okay. 850-565-1705. Again, that number is 850-565-1705. We sit down, we go over that plan with you and make sure that you're not making the mistakes that generally a lot of people make when they get to the retirement age or even before the retirement age when they plan, right, that retirement down the road.
Well, you think about it, Dave, we have, the Olympics, the Winter Olympics getting ready to start here. And you start thinking about the Olympics and, people that qualify to be in the Olympics and they're going to be competing, they don't just all of a sudden wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to go, downhill skiing and go, compete in the Olympics." They practice 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, their whole life to get ready for those Olympics. And when you talk to somebody you just mentioned, maybe somebody's listening that's 55, 57, 60 years old, 62. Hey, when do I want to retire? They need to meet with us and plan early, because that plan can start in your 50s. Don't wait until you're 67, say, "Hey, I want to retire next year." And then you wake up one day and you can't. That planning should start as early as possible. And that's what we're offering out there is, let's sit down with you. Make sure you don't make these mistakes that David's talking about with your retirement and your assets. And that's, we save, we work all of our life to get to retirement. And to me, everybody listening, what is your retirement going to look like? Is it going to be a peaceful retirement, worry-free retirement? You're going to have guarantees in your retirement, not have to worry about inflation and the economic, upheaval that we have right now with different things going on across the world and the map and the changing lanes, landscape of AI. We shouldn't have to worry about that in retirement. We should have a good plan in place. Sit down with David and I. We can go over that plan with you and start wherever you are along that journey in your retirement.
And if you like that video, be sure to click the subscribe button and hit the notifications bell for weekly content just like this. And for more, click the video on your screen.